Hello. Oh yeah, Mike. I would hate to forget. Great. So I had to do another video for this evening. So I am in the middle of quiche crust, and I will be getting back to it. But I had to log back on because this is good to document this time in my life, and I'm happy. Although I really want a family and a life of my own, I'm happy to get this all off my chest now, especially because I've been actively studying and planning to educate my children off of the tutoring I've already done for kids through the fucking ages here. Oh, hey. Oh yeah, no problem. Just doing my little YouTube channel. Yeah, so I was reviewing a bit of the Russia-Ukraine war today, and I'm just so irritated with it. It's annoying to just have nobody in leadership be honest. Like nobody's brought up history, nobody's brought up anything from World War II origin, and it's so irritating. Like not one representative has had the balls to come forward and say anything actually historically relevant, and it's killing me inside. So we had the one senator, I want to say it was Chip Roy, but I think it was an older one, like I said in another video, who talked about the clan bakes and the Democratic Party's New York meetings in the 1960s, and that being the last time the Democratic Party's KKK openly advertised their dinners together before having congressional and Senate hearings. So you had the one Senate or Congress member bring that up in 2020, and then nobody wants to come forward with the World War II realities. So just fucking irritated with all of that, especially because everybody claims to feel so much pride from World War II and America having just absolutely defeated the greatest evil in Europe. Oh my God, they did it in a year. Crazy. And so obviously not. You don't get to be a moral hierarchy and be hanging blacks in the South as well in 1940. Those things don't go together. They're polar opposites. So irritated with that. I don't know how I'll teach that to my kids yet. Obviously, the father of the child will have an opinion that I will consider, and we'll have like super great debates about, God willing. But no, you also, again, have the Democratic Party KKK being the strong arm of America's First Amendment by controlling the media. And so that was going on. And now it's like a fucked up version of that where I think they're trying to self-correct, but obviously they don't want to be imprisoned or executed for high treason, for having, still been profiting from that lineage of control. I think a lot of what they had tried to do, like I said in other videos, was make it up to God. So rather than having to admit to the world, what they've actually done in contrast to the Declaration of Independence, rather than do that and then admit who they were to their children and grandchildren, they tried to self-correct by saying, we fund the UN, like we do good in God's eyes because we gave people shitty bread today, and things like that. Or like with the Great Society and getting welfare, like, oh no, you can't say we've done bad, God, because we gave people, at least they wouldn't starve. And then some women with children, they have warm housing. But it's not the Declaration of Independence. It's not individual liberty. It's self-correcting for past sins that have actually never been admitted to. And it should be obvious to more people, but I don't think people can handle the truth like I want them to be able to, because it's really annoying. But I guess this is how a lot of veterans who kill themselves feel, just like completely isolated, because it's not the America that they went to give their heart for. And then they can't talk about it because there's not a space for that. And then whatever else in their personal lives and in their biochem, or however they're wanting to. I don't know, but I know that I feel like a lot of veterans kill themselves because they keep trying to understand things, and then they learn more, and then they realize that, oh no, America hasn't been America since the Revolution, because that's the last time anybody fought for. And I'll read it because it's which one? Not the Constitution, because that came after. There you go. How are you going to organize such liberties? Where's just like that declaration that July 4th, we're going to be independent individual peoples, not under the Pope, not under a king. There we go. It wasn't listed first, but this document came first. So I just want to, again, kind of funny, it's put afterward when it's actually the first. It preempted the Constitution, so it should have been first in this little pamphlet that I got for $4 on Amazon. If I'm laughing, I'm actually crying inside. All right. So this is what people hang their valor on. This is what the best men we have today die for. So this is the valor everybody's just shitting on, because these are the words nobody's living up to, and it's not that hard to do. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one peoples to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, the decent respect to the opinions of mankind require that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. It is actually kind of hard to understand. I mean, I'm still going to think about it for a while. And I like that it's ambiguous in that way, but it definitely means independent from tyranny, and that's the common thought most people have. Most people I went to public school with, most people when I went to private school, this was the understanding that everybody has as their birthright in America, and where a lot of that discontent comes from, and a lot of that protest, at least in what they intend to protest, which is that there is a tyranny that keeps them from their freedom of livelihood and prosperity. So back to the Declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers, their just powers, from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, which they have in totality today, that whenever that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Yeah, so that's what men die for and sacrifice their bodies for. So you would think that at every turn, at every corner, all the truth would be filtered out, and that would be the utmost priority if it's the people with the consent of the just powers. Sorry. That is to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, so people elected other people, and they're getting their powers, their just powers, from the consent of the governed. So, since this is all beyond the consent of the governed, and that is a unanimous vote of opinion that you can see in common knowledge by observation, that has been the opposite. It's been fooling people. It's been the production of propaganda on such a mass scale that we are now, let me do the math on my phone. How deep are we in our propaganda hole? 1 second. 247 years in the propaganda hole. And like I said in a post I did in another video, as it was these two old men debating, like, where did our country go wrong? And it's like, you're so stupid. Immediately it went wrong because I'll refer to my post if I need to. Immediately it went wrong because you have all these just basic men at the time, 1776, okay? Just what did people read? Their one Bible. If you're wealthy, sure, you had a couple novels, the newspaper. I don't think it was that widely produced in 1776. Maybe it was. I don't know. Some cities, but I highly doubt it was that often. You comment below if you know. But you have just men who can't hold any concept outside of what they grow up seeing. And then so they're told these words and they're like, baller, I'm going to do whatever I want. Me and my family are going to go in the direction I want. The church is a non-issue. The king, what king? I'm the king. That's the mindset of men when they had been in indentured servitude to somebody or underneath somebody, and then they're told one day, just whatever, bro, go for it. They were not well intended in that liberty immediately. Some were, but the masses never are. So, yeah, you're planning a direction for your own ego, for your own clan group. And there were many different ethnicities from all these kind of countries. And in all of Europe, they didn't want to be like any other country. So they were immediately fearing like another group making the country go in their direction, right? And then just whatever. And then you realize how easy it is to convince a narrative to get somebody voted to make decisions that you want made. And all you have to do is get a community to believe an idea that sparks fear in them. So like I said, we're 247 years into this propaganda shithole, and it needs to stop. Any representative, you can do your own fucking research. You can do your own goddamn history. It should be quite clear where you need to trace back to and where the lies fall in the local cities you all live in. You need to stop it with the federal bullshit. No president is going to do anything for you. That's your mayor's job. Please appoint that person you need in your city council and in your mayor, and constantly be going up to them and making sure they're doing your bidding. Again, the consent of the governed. Why do you think we have such a huge government right now? Don't blame it on the feds. It is because you sacrificed that convenience locally, and that's why it's just a big federal donut right now. And what do you expect to happen but like constant international conflicts because you can't handle a local fucking government because it's too inconvenient for you because you're hungry because you're tired. Yeah. Well, that's the only way forward. There's no federal anything that's going to fix anything. Stop it. Pay attention to them less and only demand local policies change. Only demand state policies change. Stay in the border of your goddamn state because we're so past that point. Nothing federal is going to help anything. It's going to get so much worse because we're now full on communism, socialism. That's where we've been. We have no economic security in any individual state that can hold our cottage businesses as far as just people who have bakeries, coffee shops, restaurants. Okay, none of those things are secured by state production or local production. And that's what you need to get back to in a big way. Because again, Iran just moved to Panama. Sup? And Russia and Iran are thick as thieves where they're at with their border in Europe. So, and the only way the newspapers can make money right now is by giving attention to Ukraine for some reason. And so hopefully we will get our weapons production up. I hope we're not that stupid. But, you know, if the military has become socialist, then they might just rely on that nuke again. And that's just sad. And it's not necessary. But if that's where the will of the people are going, and if that's how the military is choosing to respond in ignoring the small scale warfare with direct targets for another just nuke bomb, that's their fucking choice. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, people just, you need to realize that what you have is not permanent and that it's extremely easy when you're entirely dependent on the masses to fall like the Eiffel Tower, because it's unstable to rely on other nations when you're supposed to be independent domestically. And I think we've seen that in the catastrophe of the lockdowns, and then again just with inflation and people not being able to produce where they live. And so, and it really kills me too, because I always think of the men every day when I wake up who died for my liberties, because I find it to be really grounding, and I want to have meaning in what I've believed my whole life, and that is definitely the first couple paragraphs of the Declaration. And I'll get to more of it, but I like the beginning of it just fine. And so it's just disgusting that like no American can come forward who is an elected position, apart from that one who talked about the clan bakes that happened up through the 60s. And it's like, call out your own party. Like at least the Republicans call out the Republican Party all the time. At least they say like, oh, the conservatives aren't conserving shit. At least they admit that. The Democrat Party, really, you need to own up to your KKK past, because you've rotted our country from the inside out. You've tried to hide behind the UN, and you've tried to hide behind bullshit climate agreements that really mean nothing. And you've tried to hide behind wars for territory to plant corn. And it should be more obvious. Like, who is nobody else planning for their children and their grandchildren's freedom? Like, can somebody else also do that and be an elected official? Let me just give some examples of what was in the news today. We'll do the Drudge Report, but it's all stupid. Like Carrie Lake, give me some history, bitch. You're in Arizona. You have so much history. Say something else. Carrie Lake just goes, America will turn into Venezuela unless the judge installs me as governor. And I like her, like she's sassy, but again, it's like, this is your moment to say some shit, like actually risk getting sued for defamation or something. Like, be as brave as the kids who were sex trafficked on the islands in the Epstein cases. Be as brave as the girls who were sex trafficked in Romania. Can somebody be as brave as the little children who were sex trafficked, who's in government? Thanks so much. I'm going to get back to my quiche.